I don't know if you've ever read it, but if you haven't, Think and Grow Rich, chapter 14. Chapter 14, Napoleon Hill, he talks about using his imagination. And we can all use our imagination. We're actually really good at it as children. Somehow as adults we forget we've got an imagination and we live entirely in the past. And we repeat the past every day. And life just gets really fucking chaotic and messy. Because we're not creating anything. We're just living in this repetitive cycle of bullshit. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Ryan McTaggart. I am the head coach of the Supernatural Dad. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification, and follow along. This is a series where I'm uncovering exactly how I have created the man that I sit in front of you as today. So go ahead, hit subscribe, and let's dive straight in. So, in the book Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill talks about this imagination and his imaginary counsel. So, he had these world-leading figures that he admired certain aspects of their personality, and he would, at night, on his way to bed, on his way into sleep, and again we can talk about mind states and all that sort of stuff as you go into your sleep and why it's favourable for imagination, but let's just cover the fact that he's having these imaginative meetings with some of the leaders in the world at the time, and he's imagining them having conversation and really getting into dialogue about the struggles of Napoleon Hill, the challenges that he's facing, and he's looking for their input. And over a period of time of having this imagination, he gets to the point where he imagines the response from these people, and he actually hears it as though he's in conversation, and they take on the character traits that these men had. So this video you've seen already is about a podcast with Wes Watson, Joe Dispenza, Tony Robbins, and Alex Hormozy. That for me is the most spectacular, phenomenal podcast that you could possibly watch, listen to, hear, be engaged in. And for me, that podcast is my imaginary counsel. It is the place that I go to for the input and insight into how these men would handle the challenges that I currently face. And it gives me the insight from the man that I will be in the future and to live as him today. And these guys on that podcast give me that capacity and that ability. Yes, this is a slight detour from the daily. We did Wes Watson yesterday. However, we're going to cover Alex Hormozy, we're going to cover Tony Robbins, and we're going to cover Dr. Joe Dispenza and the parts of their personality and their character trait that I have within me, and I'm using their example as how to apply that in my life day to day. And this podcast is a phenomenal. This happened on the drive back from Inverness today. I was inspired to create this video. I was inspired to talk to you about Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. And driven by Wes Watson, I was inspired to call it Think and Grow Ripped. And it's something I've done since last October. And I think everyone should think and grow ripped. And think and grow rich as well. All the beauty in life can come from this ability to design the man that you desire to become and to live from him today, because everything that you handle moving forwards can be handled by the man who lives in the future. And if you have designed him and created him, you can live from that place today and navigate your life to a place that you could never have dreamed possible when you were entirely living based on the past and what you'd done before and projecting that forward. Imagination. Use your imagination. Create a whole new life for yourself and do it in the manner of, because again, we don't have much counsels these days of meetings of people, but we have plenty of podcasts. So why not create your own podcast where on an evening when you're going to your bed, you can sit and commune with these guys, these men that you have adapted and adopted certain parts of their character traits to build the man that you will be in the future. Listen, I hope that's helped. If you've got any questions or any queries, because this book is one that I've read countless times And it's full of wisdom. It's full of wisdom for much more than growing rich. It is richness in the depth of life and the experience of life and spirituality and subconscious mind and finances and everything that you can imagine. Success in business, success as a father, all these things is within this book, lie within this book. And I've just picked out one small aspect of it because this podcast that I have created is driven by the imaginary counsel that Napoleon Hill constructed. And it's something that I read many years ago and it has just stuck with me. And it makes so much sense now that I have created this man I am today based on these 4 figures, these 4 personalities. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening along. And Alex and Mosey is coming tomorrow. Speak to you then.